We've heard from several
Morning.
EU leaders, including Donald Tusk, urging Theresa May to try and extend that deadline, to try and delay Brexit, essentially. Is that what Brussels is getting ready for?
Yeah, I think so. But I suppose formally the position is, and you mentioned there, Belle, there is going to be a continuation of talks between the British government and the EU side on in what way they can re-alter the withdrawal treaty, the political declaration part of the withdrawal treaty, to persuade MPs to finally vote for it. Because you heard Theresa May there. She is adamant that she's going to have this meaningful vote by the 12th of March, and she wants to pursue her withdrawal agreement and for the UK to leave the EU on March 29th as per the triggering of Article 50 just 2 years ago. So the EU has to officially prepare for that scenario. Second of all, the no deal preparation is underway as is. And then thirdly, we have to also look at what happened yesterday and over the past couple of days in Sharm el-Sheikh. There was a formalisation of this position that's been sort of taking hold in Brussels over the past, I suppose, couple of months, which is that a delay on Article 50 and leaving the EU was inevitable. The question is what type of delay, because it depends on what kind of request comes from the UK if a requested delay does come. First of all, even if she gets her withdrawal agreement over the line, which looks unlikely because she doesn't have the numbers, there will have to be some sort of delay, maybe a couple of weeks, to get the legislation crossed. Second of all, is it for a second referendum? Then you'd have a particularly long delay, a few months, to allow that to take place. And then the EU has to look at the complications that will ensue for the European Parliament elections. Will the UK be obliged to hold elections, or will they appoint MEPs? That's something that member states are really concerned about. And then, of course, would there be a delay just to have a delay so the UK can, I suppose, continue arguing with itself and continue to try to get a consensus? So Brussels has to wait and see what comes from Britain, but all of those things are being considered right now.
With that in mind, Shona, what, if anything, do you think might be achievable from today's talks?
Well, I don't see any breakthrough, speaking to people over the past few days. You know, even last week there was this thing, the deal in the desert. You know, there was some hope, some reports that something could come out of the Sharm el-Sheikh talks in relation to what the British want, which is alterations to the withdrawal treaty, in particular the withdrawal agreement or the political declaration, which will prove to MPs in the UK that the Irish backstop, the legally binding guarantee to ensure no border is ever erected on the island of Ireland, that doesn't trap the UK in the EU's customs union. The EU says, of course, that's necessary. The UK says they want to be able to have more control over it. Those talks, I know, have not made any particular breakthrough, and so we're not really expecting anything further from that today. The likelihood is we have Theresa May's team coming over, in particular probably Geoffrey Cox, the Attorney General, who's been shuttling back and forth over the past couple of weeks. So that's what essentially that the British are hoping for right now. But again, as I said, I think a lot of officials in Brussels and member states are a little bit heartened that the idea of a delay is now finally, formally on the table in some ways at least.